The brass house key catches the afternoon light as I hang it on the small wooden hook by my front door. My front door. The words still feel foreign on my tongue, like a language I'm just learning to speak. At 22, I own this house, all 800 square feet of it. A second-hand armchair sits crooked in the corner of my living room, waiting to be arranged just right. The worn fabric holds the stories of another family's life, but now it's mine, bought with cash from the thrift store on Madison Avenue. I run my fingers along the slightly frayed armrest, picturing quiet evenings with a book, morning coffee, a life built on my own terms. The sunlight streams through bare windows, creating long rectangles on the hardwood floor. I should get curtains, maybe the pale yellow ones I saw at. The doorbell rings. My heart jumps. I freeze, staring at the front door like it might explain itself. I'm not expecting anyone. Gordon, my boss at the auto shop, knows I'm taking the weekend to settle in. The realtor dropped off the final paperwork yesterday. The bell chimes again, more insistent this time. I move toward the door, each step measured and careful. Through the peephole, the fish-eye view distorts familiar faces into something almost monstrous. My father, Martin Morgan, stands front and center, his practiced smile too wide. Mother Linda hovers just behind his shoulder, her lips pressed into a thin line. My sister Kayla looks exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes, and around her legs. Oh God. 4 children. 4 small hurricanes of energy are already squirming and pushing at each other on my narrow front porch. My hands tremble as I open the door, just enough to speak through the gap. The security chain draws a hard line between us. Surprise! Father's voice booms across the threshold. We've come to reconnect. Mother peers past me, her eyes scanning what she can see of my living room. Oh, Tessa, what a tiny little house. The smallest child, a boy no more than 3, darts through the gap between my father's legs and under my security chain before I can react. His siblings follow, a stampede of small feet and shrill voices. Kids, wait! Kayla calls weakly, but they're already in my living room. The littlest one makes straight for my bookshelf where Grandpa Harold's photo sits in its simple frame. His sticky fingers reach for the glass. Don't. The word catches in my throat. I'm 17 again, standing in my childhood bedroom. Mother's voice rings in my memory. Kayla needs the space for the nursery. You're old enough to figure it out, Tessa. That night, I packed everything I owned into Grandpa Harold's old pickup truck. Everything that mattered fit in 3 boxes and a duffel bag. We thought it was time, Father says, pulling me back to the present. He gestures at Kayla's minivan parked behind his SUV. The trunk stands open, packed with suitcases. Time to rebuild our family under one roof. A suitcase thuds onto my front porch, then another. Mother steps forward, reaching for the security chain. After everything we've done for you. The words hit like a physical blow. Everything they've done for me. Like making me sleep in a converted storage room while Kayla had the big bedroom. Like telling everyone at church I was the difficult twin when I dared to complain. Please, Tessa. Kayla's voice cracks. We don't have anywhere else to go, the bank. This is my house. My voice comes out quiet but firm. In the living room, the children have pulled the cushions off my thrift store chair. And you weren't invited to stay? Father's smile vanishes. Now listen here, young lady. No. The word rings with 5 years of stored courage. You need to leave. Always the selfish one. Mother's voice carries across my front yard. Mrs. Peterson next door pauses while watering her roses, head tilted to catch every word. Even after we raised you. Raised me? I laugh, the sound sharp and unfamiliar in my throat. You threw me out at 17. I raised myself. More neighbors appear on their porches. Perfect. Just perfect. Blood is supposed to mean something, Mother shouts as I close the door. The sound echoes through my empty house, mixing with the chaos of children and the thud of more suitcases hitting my porch. I press my back against the door, sliding down until I sit on the floor. Through the wood, I hear Father's muffled voice turning threatening, Mother's theatrical sobs, Kayla's children screaming. The brass key glints on its hook, catching the afternoon light. My house, my rules, my life. They can't take this from me. But God, they're going to try. 2 days later, the cardboard mailbox flag won't stay up. I fidget with the rusty metal hinge, avoiding the moment I'll have to reach inside. A certified letter waits stark white envelope with its green return receipt card screaming importance. Only bad news comes certified. My fingertips brush the envelope's edge. One quick pull and it's in my hands, heavier than it should be. The return address punches me in the gut. Blackwell and Stone, attorneys at law. I sink onto my front steps, concrete still cool from the morning shade. The perforated edge tears unevenly under trembling fingers. Legal words blur together on crisp letterhead. Notice of civil action, family equity claim, immediate response required. Kayla's name jumps from the page. My twin sister is suing me for my house. The morning sun beats against my neck as I read the letter 3 times, trying to make the words mean something different. They want a judge to force me to share family resources, to sell my home and split the proceeds, because blood is blood and family means equal shares. The letter slips from my fingers. My laptop screen glows until 4 p.m. as I search desperately for answers. Family property rights, sibling real estate claims, legal defense against family lawsuits. The words swim together until I find it. Angela Reeves, attorney at law, specializing in family property disputes. I drain my savings account the next morning. The retainer fee leaves me with exactly $43 until next payday. After I made an appointment with the lawyer, Angela's office smells like leather and lemon furniture polish. Her framed diplomas gleam on the walls, the achievements of someone who knows how to fight and win. Tell me everything, she says, legal pad ready. Leave nothing out. So I do. I tell her about being thrown out at 17, about sleeping in Grandpa Harold's truck until Gordon found me at the auto shop. About 5 years of working myself to exhaustion, saving every spare dollar, learning to fix engines and balance books and survive. Angela takes notes in swift, sharp strokes. Her glasses catch the afternoon light as she peers at me over their silver frames. And your grandfather, Harold Morgan, did he ever mention leaving anything for you? Money, property, any kind of inheritance? The memory hits like a physical blow. Grandpa Harold's weathered hands on my shoulders, his voice rough with emotion. You'll be taken care of, little one, I promise. When you turn 18, there'll be money for college, for a fresh start. He died 3 months later. I never saw a dime. Angela's fingers fly across her keyboard. Bank records appear on her monitor statements from an account I never knew existed, $76,000 earmarked for my education. Withdrawn 2 days after my 18th birthday. My parents' signatures mock me from the transfer papers. Martin and Linda Morgan cleaning out their dead father's account while I slept in a pickup truck. The room tilts sideways. 5 years of struggle, 5 years of minimum wage jobs and aching muscles and cold nights, all because they stole what was meant to be my fresh start. We have them, Angela says, her voice steady and sure. We're filing a countersuit for fraud and inheritance theft. But I need everything, work records, bank statements, photos of where you lived, anything that shows how you survived after they kicked you out. I bring her a cardboard box the next day, every pay stub from every job, bank statements showing my slow climb from poverty. Photos Gordon took of me sleeping in the truck, proof for if I ever disappeared. He thought my parents might report me missing, try to force me home. They never did. We need character witnesses, Angela says, spreading the evidence across her desk. People who can testify about your work ethic, your honesty. Gordon, I say immediately. From the auto shop. He's the one who found me, gave me a chance. The same day, 3 hours later, Gordon arrives at Angela's office in his good flannel shirt, the one he saves for special occasions. His hands are clean, but the motor oil stains remain ground into his knuckles. He tells Angela everything, finding me curled up in the truck, offering me work instead of charity, watching me learn every aspect of auto repair through sheer determination. Never seen anyone work harder, he says, pride warming his gruff voice. 16-hour days sometimes between the shop and her night jobs. Never complained once. Angela's pen scratches across her legal pad. And you provided her shelter eventually? In the shop's back room? Wasn't much, Gordon says, but it was warm, had a bathroom, gave her a proper door with a lock, first safe place she'd had since they threw her out. My throat tightens. I stare at my hands, calloused and capable. The hands that built my life from nothing while my family lived off my stolen inheritance. Miss Morgan, Angela says, shuffling papers into a neat stack. Based on the evidence, we have an extremely strong case for fraud. The inheritance account was legally designated for you. Your grandfather's wishes were clearly documented. Your parents had no right to touch that money. She names a figure for damages: $76,000 plus interest plus emotional distress plus legal fees. The number would change my life. Again. Will it be enough? I ask. To make them stop trying to take my house? Angela's smile holds steel. By the time I'm done, they'll wish they'd never started this fight. The question is, are you ready for war? I think of my small house, bought with years of sweat and sacrifice. Think of Kayla's children running wild through my living room, my parents unloading suitcases like they had any right to my life. Think of sleeping in a truck while they spent my college fund. Yes, I say, my voice stronger than I feel. I'm ready. Angela nods once, sharp and satisfied. Then let's bury them in paperwork. Your family wants to talk about justice? Fine. Let's show them exactly what justice looks like. As she's organizing our defense, I'm thinking about the past, silent tears falling down my cheeks. The Walmart security light casts a sickly yellow glow through Grandpa Harold's Ford F-150 windows. I burrow deeper into my nest of blankets, listening to the midnight whispers of shopping carts and distant voices. 3 weeks since they kicked me out. 21 nights of parking lot roulette. A passing car's headlights sweep across my makeshift bedroom. I freeze, counting heartbeats until the beam moves on. The tarp stretched over the truck bed rustles in the autumn wind. My fingers find the familiar notch in Harold's worn steering wheel, the spot where his thumb had rubbed the leather smooth over decades of early morning drives. The dashboard clock blinks 4:47 a.m. Time to move. The gas station on Maple opens at 5, and Susan, the morning clerk who pretends not to notice me washing up in the bathroom, starts her shift at 6. My routine unfolds like a familiar dance. Gather clean clothes from the glove compartment, tuck my toothbrush into my pocket, slip on shoes without untying them. The station's fluorescent lights hum as I splash cold water on my face. The mirror shows dark circles under my eyes, but my uniform for the diner job is clean, pressed against the truck's back window while I slept. No one will know I spent the night in a parking lot. Order up, Clyde bellows from the kitchen. I balance 3 plates of eggs along my arm, serving them with a smile that costs more energy than carrying the food. 8 hours of, "Can I get you anything else, hon?" Later, I'll stock shelves at the drugstore until midnight. The envelope marked, "Someday home," grows thicker by the day, but never thick enough. Every 48 hours, I move the truck. Tonight, it's the strip mall behind the abandoned Kmart. Tomorrow, the park and ride by the interstate. Keep moving. Stay invisible. The police car that cruises past at 2 a.m. doesn't see the 17-year-old girl curled under a tarp, just another old truck in a city full of them. The October rain turns to sleet, drumming against the metal roof. My breath fogs the windows as I huddle in the cab, too cold to sleep in the truck bed. The auto shop's red neon sign reflects off the wet pavement. Gordon's Automotive Repair. Their lot is dark, sheltered by oak trees. Just for tonight, I think. Just until the storm passes. Thunder cracks. I jolt awake to knuckles rapping on my window. A man with steel gray hair and lined features peers in, concern etched in the creases around his eyes. My heart pounds. I grab Harold's old wrench from under the seat, ready to run, fight, survive. Shop opens in 10 minutes, he says, voice gruff but steady. Not angry, not threatening. Just stating a fact. Could use someone to sweep up. Pays $8 an hour. The wrench trembles in my hand. I don't need charity. Good, because I'm not offering any. You want the job or not? My fingers uncurl from the wrench. Through the rain-streaked glass, I study his face. No pity, no judgment. Just the simple math of work and wages. The shop smells of oil and rubber, metal and possibility. Gordon shows me where to find the broom, points out which areas need sweeping. By noon, I'm organizing his filing cabinet. By closing, I'm answering phones, writing up service tickets, learning the difference between synthetic and conventional oil. You sleep in the truck. You lock the gate when you leave. Gordon says that night, dropping a ring of keys on the desk. Not asking, not judging, just offering facts and choices. Weeks blur into months. Gordon teaches me to change brake pads, replace alternators, diagnose engine knocks. The gas station job stretches from 7 to midnight, every dollar another brick in the foundation of my future. I take online accounting classes between oil changes, study manuals during lunch breaks. Girl doesn't know what she's talking about. A customer sneers when I tell him his timing belt needs replacing. Get me a real mechanic. Gordon's footsteps crunch on metal shavings. He doesn't speak, just stands behind me, arms crossed, waiting. I walk the customer through the diagnostic steps, pointing out the wear patterns, the metallic debris, the telltale signs of impending failure. My voice stays steady, technical, sure. When I finish, Gordon nods once and returns to his office. The customer schedules the repair. The back room becomes my sanctuary. A narrow cot, a small dresser, a lamp for late-night studying. No more parking lot roulette. No more sleeping under tarps. My first bonus check goes into an envelope marked "Someday Home." The stack of bills grows slowly, but it grows. Winter melts into spring, melts into summer. My knowledge expands with the seasons, transmissions, electrical systems, computer diagnostics. The line of customers requesting the girl mechanic stretches longer. My saving account inches upward, dollar by dollar, dream by dream. The realtor blinks at my credit report. 5 years of documented income. 0 debt. A down payment saved penny by precious penny. You've never missed a payment on anything, she says, shuffling through papers. Not one late mark. She brings me back to reality, and I wipe my tears. Later that night at home, I am thinking about the moment when I first came here a month ago. I signed the mortgage documents with Harold's old pen, my hand steady. The key felt light in my palm, but it anchored me to the earth. My own walls, my own roof, my own life, built from the ground up. That first night, I spread a sleeping bag on the empty living room floor. The house creaked and settled around me, speaking in the language of new beginnings. Through the window, I watched stars wheel across the sky, each one a pinprick of light marking the distance traveled from that first night in the Walmart parking lot. I was thinking tomorrow I'd buy furniture, paint walls, plant flowers in the soil I own, but that night I lay there in the quiet, listening to the sound of freedom. It whispers through empty rooms like a prayer of thanksgiving, blessed by the ghosts of parking lots past, and the grease-stained angels who taught me to build an engine, rebuild a life. The darkness holded no terror now. I've learned its language, mapped its territories, and claimed my space within its borders. Each breath draws in the scent of possibility, exhales the last traces of fear. I closed my eyes, finally allowing sleep to come, knowing I'll wake in the same place I lay down. Home. The word echoes through my chest like a benediction, like a promise kept, like the sound of a key turning in a lock that opens to rooms of my own making. Let them ask what I would have done in these work boots, how I chose to build rather than break. The answer lives in every mile driven, every hour worked, every dollar saved. It lives in the quiet triumph of this moment, lying on the floor of a house that belongs to me, surrounded by walls I earned, sheltered by a roof I paid for with sweat and determination, and the simple refusal to be broken. This is how you rise. This is how you rebuild. This is how you come home to yourself. 2 days later, the timeline on Angela's wall tells my story in post-it notes and red string. 5 years of calculated manipulation by the people who should have protected me, mapped out in stark black ink. My eyes track from note to note. Parents' empty inheritance account minus $76,000. Kayla's destination wedding in Maui. Down payment on Linda's new SUV. Angela taps a yellow post-it near the bottom. This is where they started watching your house. I nod, remembering Mrs. Peterson's worried face at my door last week. Someone called asking if I'd seen any strange men visiting, said they were concerned about my mental state. Classic intimidation tactics. Angela adjusts her wire-rimmed glasses. They're trying to isolate you, make you doubt yourself. The evidence of my independent life spreads across her desk. Pay stubs from the auto shop, the gas station, the cleaning service. A photo of Grandpa Harold's rusty Ford where I slept those first months. Bank statements showing every dollar I saved, every extra shift I worked. Your paper trail is immaculate, Angela says. Not a penny they can claim came from them. A car horn blares outside on the street later that day. I flinch, then force my shoulders to relax. Yesterday, Father appeared at Gordon's shop, all concerned smiles and reasonable tones. Just want to talk sense into my little girl, he told the other mechanics. Gordon threw him out, then spent an hour teaching me how to adjust a timing belt, his steady voice washing away the panic. A week later, at Angela's office, she says, "Let's practice your testimony again." She sits behind her desk, assuming the stern expression of an opposing counsel. "Miss Morgan, isn't it true that your parents provided you with food and shelter for 17 years? They did the legal minimum required by law." The words come easier now, rehearsed but honest. Then they threw me out to make room for Liz baby. "And you never asked them for help?" I learned early that asking meant owing. I chose independence instead. Angela nods, pleased. "Good. Direct, clear, no bitterness in your tone. The judge will." A knock interrupts us. Carol, Angela's secretary, pokes her head in. "Sorry to interrupt, but Mrs. Davidson brought dinner for Tessa again." My throat tightens. Since the lawsuit started, my neighbors have rallied. Mrs. Davidson's lasagna, Mr. Wilson bringing his tools to help install security cameras. The auto shop customers who sign statements about my character, who request the girl mechanics specifically for their cars. "Thank you," I manage. "Tell her I'll return the dish tomorrow." Carol hesitates. "Also, your mother and father are in the lobby." The familiar ice spreads through my chest. Angela stands, her expression hardening. "They don't have an appointment." "Kayla's with them. All 4 kids." Of course, their favorite weapon, Kayla's tears, the children's confusion, a spectacle designed to weaken my resolve. "Use the back exit," Angela suggests. I shake my head, gathering my files. No, I'm done running. The lobby stretches endless between me and the glass doors. Mother spots me first, rushing forward with practiced concern. "Tessa, please, we can work this out as a family." Family? The word tastes bitter. You mean like when you stole my inheritance? Father steps forward, Kayla's youngest balanced on his hip. "Now, princess, that money was meant for both our girls. We only..." Lied? My voice carries across the marble floor. "Forged documents? Use my college fund for Kayla's wedding?" "I needed help," Kayla whispers. Her children cling to her legs, eyes wide and confused. "You were always the strong one." "Strong enough to sleep in a truck at 17? Strong enough to work 3 jobs while you had your beach wedding?" Mother reaches for my arm. I step back. "We'll drop our suit," she says. "Just drop yours too. Start fresh. Be a real family again." The laugh bubbles up, surprising me with its sharpness. "A real family? You want my house, my savings, everything I built while you were stealing my future." "Blood matters more than money," Father says. "Blood?" I meet his eyes. "I'll see you in court." The back of my neck burns as I walk away, their voices rising behind me, but my steps don't falter. In my pocket, my house key presses against my palm, solid and real. That night, I sit alone in my living room, surrounded by the life I've built. Grandpa Harold's photo watches from the mantle as I scroll through old family pictures on my phone. Kayla and me at 10 before the twins became the favorite and the spare. Mother at my 8th grade graduation before she stopped attending my events. Father teaching me to change a tire at 13 before he decided I wasn't worth the effort. My phone buzzes. Gordon. "Just checking in, kid." His voice grounds me, reminds me of oil changes and timing belts and honest work. "Big day tomorrow." I'm ready. "Damn right you are. Closing the shop tomorrow, we'll all be there." I touch Grandpa Harold's old work watch on my bedside table. The leather band is cracked, the face scratched, but it keeps perfect time. Like me, weather-worn but reliable. Scarred but surviving. Tomorrow I'll wear it to court. Tomorrow I'll face the family that discarded me, with the family I chose standing behind me. The watch ticks steadily in the quiet room, keeping time, keeping faith, keeping me moving forward, 1 second at a time. The following morning, the courthouse steps gleam white in the morning sun. My fingers trace the worn edge of Grandpa Harold's work watch, its leather band soft against my wrist. Through the heavy wooden doors, voices echo off marble floors' symphony of justice in motion. "Ready?" Gordon asks, his weathered face creased with concern. I nod, straightening my sharply pressed blazer. 5 years of grease stains and coveralls have given way to courthouse propriety, but my hands still bear the honest calluses of a mechanic. The courtroom door swings open. Mother's perfume hits first, the same cloying jasmine she wore the night she told me to leave. Father sits ramrod straight beside their lawyer, his expression carved from stone. Kayla hunches in the front row, fingers worrying the hem of her blouse. My footsteps click against polished floors as I walk to our table. Angela arranges documents with surgical precision: bank statements, work records, the wreckage of 5 years distilled into exhibits and evidence. The bailiff's voice booms. All rise. Judge Eleanor Martinez settles behind her bench, glasses perched low on her nose as she reviews the case file. Her eyes narrow at certain pages, lips pressing into a thin line. Your Honor, Kayla's lawyer rises first, hands spread in a gesture of false warmth. This is a simple case of family equity. My client merely seeks her fair share of familial resources, as any loving sister would. Angela's chair scrapes back. Your Honor, this case is about theft, not equity, and we have the documentation to prove it. The morning unfolds in carefully measured testimony. Kayla takes the stand first, tears welling on cue. We shared everything growing up, she says, voice wavering. Clothes, toys, our room until she chose to leave. Tessa was always different, distant. When I needed the space for my first baby's nursery, she just left. No goodbye, no trying to work things out. And now she won't share this blessing of a home with her own family in their time of need. My fingers curl against the smooth wood of our table. 5 years of carefully built control keeps my face neutral, even as old wounds throb beneath my skin. Father testifies next, his familiar pastor's voice ringing with authority. The inheritance was meant for both girls, of course. Harold would have wanted that. We simply managed it as loving parents should. And these credit card statements? Angela holds up a stack of papers. The cruise to Alaska, the new car, the country club membership. Were those purchases also made with loving parental wisdom? Color floods Father's face. We deserved, he catches himself. That is, we thought it best to maintain certain social obligations, for the family's reputation. The family's reputation, Angela repeats slowly. And was it for the family's reputation that you allowed your 17-year-old daughter to sleep in a truck? Mother's sharp intake of breath cuts through the courtroom. Gordon's testimony comes like hammer blows against their carefully constructed lies. Found her curled up in that old Ford, middle of January. Frost on the windows thick as your thumb. His voice carries the weight of remembered anger. Worked harder than any 3 people I've known. 16-hour days, sometimes more. Never complained, never asked for handouts. Just kept her head down and earned every single dollar that went into that house. The judge's questions slice through pretense. Mr. Morgan, why exactly did you ask your daughter to leave at 17? We didn't ask, Father shifts in his seat. That is, we were teaching responsibility, character building. By making her homeless? The judge's pen taps against her desk. Did you file a missing persons report when she left? Well, no, but... Did you attempt to locate her? We assumed she was with friends. Did you check? Silence stretches like a taut wire. Mrs. Morgan. The judge turns to Mother. These bank records show $76,000 withdrawn from an account legally designated for Tessa's education. Where did that money go? Mother's fingers flutter to her throat, touching the gold cross that hangs there. Family expenses, Kayla's wedding, the nursery, things any mother would. Things explicitly forbidden by the terms of the inheritance. The judge closes the file with finality. I've heard enough. The verdict falls like summer thunder. The plaintiff's case is dismissed with prejudice. Each word rings against marble walls. Furthermore, I find in favor of the defendant's counter suit. The defendants, Martin and Linda Morgan, are ordered to repay the full amount of $76,000 plus 5% annual interest calculated from the date of withdrawal. Additional punitive damages of $25,000 are awarded for emotional distress and legal fees. 15 minutes later, outside, reporters cluster like sparrows, microphones thrust forward. Miss Morgan, how does it feel to win against your own family? Tessa, will you forgive your parents? What do you say to others facing family betrayal? Mother's voice rises above the chaos. Tessa, please, we're still your parents. Blood is blood. I turn, sunlight warm against my face. Today isn't about winning. I say, voice carrying across the courthouse steps. It's about truth. Sometimes the hardest truth is learning the difference between the family you're born with and the family you build. Gordon waits at the bottom of the steps with my shop crew. Their familiar faces shine with pride and something deeper, the bonds of chosen family, forged in trust and sealed with time. I don't look back as I walk away from the cameras, from the echoes of old pain, from the shadows of what family should have been. Grandpa Harold's watch ticks steadily against my wrist, marking each step toward a future built on my own truth. Behind me, Mother calls one last time. Tessa, don't you dare walk away from us again. But I keep walking. Because sometimes walking away isn't an act of cowardice, it's the bravest thing you can do. I will never allow them to humiliate me ever again. 6 months later, the brass house key catches the morning light as I water my newly planted marigolds. Orange and yellow blooms nod in the gentle breeze, their faces turned toward the rising sun. The certified check from my parents sits on the porch swing behind me, still sealed in its envelope after a month. My garden spade rests against the wooden railing, crusted with fresh dirt from planting herbs yesterday. Rosemary, sage, and mint, simple plants that thrive with the right care, like me. Inside, my house has taken shape around me. The thrift store armchair now faces east, perfect for morning coffee. A soft Afghan drapes its back, picked up at a church sale for $3. Simple curtains filter the sunlight, turning it butter yellow across my hardwood floors. The mailman's footsteps crunch up my gravel path. More cards from my family, no doubt. The growing stack sits unopened in my kitchen drawer next to the takeout menus and spare batteries. Last week, Mother slipped a tear-stained letter through my mail slot. Yesterday, Father left another voicemail about starting fresh as a real family. The mail drops through the slot. Bills and junk mostly, except for one cream-colored envelope with familiar handwriting. Kayla, again. My phone buzzes on the porch rail. Gordon's name lights up the screen. Meeting in 20 about the manager position, his text reads, "Bringing donuts." A smile tugs at my lips. Gordon never brings donuts unless it's something big. The promotion we discussed last week must be happening. 5 years of oil changes and brake jobs, learning every engine that rolled into the shop, staying late to finish paperwork, it's all led to this moment. The check on my porch swing catches my eye again. Enough money for 2 years of business classes at the community college with plenty left over. The justice feels hollow somehow, like trying to put a price tag on 5 years of struggle. But the future it could build, that's worth everything. My garden hose drips steadily, creating dark patches in the soil. A robin hops closer, searching for earthworms in the damp ground. This is what peace feels like, I realize. Not the absence of conflict, but the presence of growth. The screen door creaks, and I step inside to change for work. My living room walls, once bare, now hold carefully chosen pieces of my life. The framed house key hangs beside my first pay stub from Gordon's shop. Below them, Grandpa Harold smiles from his silver frame, his kind eyes crinkling at the corners. My therapy journal lies open on the coffee table, last night's entry still visible. "You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick." Dr. Chen's words from our last session. She'd nodded approvingly when I told her about setting boundaries with my family. The morning light streams through my front windows, painting patterns on the floor. This house isn't just shelter anymore, it's proof that broken foundations can be rebuilt. Every mortgage payment, every careful repair, every small improvement stands as testimony to what determination can build from nothing. A shadow passes my window. A girl, maybe 16, peers through the glass at Gordon's shop across the street. Her clothes hang loose and her backpack bulges with what looks like everything she owns. My throat tightens. I know that look, the careful way she studies the building, wondering if it might offer sanctuary. My work boots wait by the door, laces still tied from yesterday's shift. I grab them, along with my keys and wallet. The girl startles when I cross the street, but something in my expression must reassure her. Help wanted? Her voice barely carries across the parking lot. I think of Gordon, finding me asleep in my truck that rainy morning. The way he handed me a broom instead of pity. We need someone to sweep the shop, I tell her. Start with that, see where it leads. Hope flickers in her eyes, the same desperate hope I carried 5 years ago. When can I start? Now. I unlock the shop door, flick on the lights. I'm Tessa. First thing we teach here is how to properly clean a workbench. She follows me inside, footsteps hesitant on the concrete floor. Her shoulders stay tense, waiting for the catch, the moment when kindness turns to cruelty. I recognize that, too. What's your name? I ask, pulling out the broom. Jenny. Well, Jenny, here's the deal. Work hard, learn everything you can, be honest. That's all we expect. The rest? I gesture at her backpack. That's your business until you decide to tell us. Tears well in her eyes, but she blinks them back. Strong girl, survivor. I hand her the broom, handle first. Start in the back corner, work your way forward. Any questions? She shakes her head, grips the broom like a lifeline. The morning sun streams through the shop windows, catching dust motes in its beam. They dance like tiny stars, swirling in the light. My phone buzzes again, mother's number displayed on the screen. I look at Jenny, already sweeping with fierce concentration. At my house across the street, morning glories climbing the porch trellis I built last weekend. At the future stretching before me, unwritten and full of possibility. The phone keeps ringing. I press silence without hesitation. Some calls don't need to be answered. Some gardens grow better with careful pruning. Some families are chosen, built on foundations of kindness rather than blood. My garden hose still drips across the street, feeding the marigolds I planted at dawn. They'll bloom all summer if tended right. I know something about that now, about growing things, about nurturing strength from broken ground. Gordon's truck pulls into the parking lot, pink bakery box visible on the passenger seat. Jenny sweeps steadily in the back, each stroke of the broom a small act of faith in tomorrow. The sun climbs higher, warming the concrete beneath my feet. This is what healing looks like. Not the absence of scars, but the presence of new growth. Not the forgetting of past wounds, but the planting of future gardens. Time to get to work.